As I mentioned in the previous lesson, the source of all emotions is the fight for survival. Take the question of survival out of the way, and your whole emotional life will become balanced. By balanced, I don't mean that your emotions will disappear, but you will be much less affected by them. Emotions are overrated by people who don't know anything beyond their feelings. They think that the emotions of the heart are the highest and noblest things they can experience. Emotions are closer to your pure nature than thoughts, that is for sure. Always listen to your heart instead of your mind, but only until you can become evolved enough to work with your intuition. Your intuition is never wrong, but your gut feelings are often misled by the inherent biological conditioning. To evolve yourself beyond this level, you have to become emotionally stable first. This means that your emotions shouldn't drag you like a puppet on strings. Instead, you have to learn how to be their master. Now, there are many traps here, like becoming indifferent or oppressive, but I will guide you in detail how to avoid them. All in all, when your emotions are balanced, they have a lesser effect on you than before. If you imagine your emotional life like a sinus, where positive emotions mean high and negative ones mean low points, then this line becomes more and more straight as you evolve in this field. A straight line, however, doesn't mean that you will become an emotionless robot. It means that you will have a generally positive attitude to life because you rise to your natural state of happiness beyond emotions. In fact, it is exactly your emotions that make you a robot who simply reacts when others push his buttons. For example, when somebody insults you, don't you always react the same way? You elicit a perfectly predictable behavior which others can use to their own advantage. You become angry at your attacker because you feel he is threatening you. At least, your ego is feeling that way. Always remember that only your ego can be insulted or hurt, and never your real self. Instead of acting on the automatic reaction, an emotionally balanced person asks himself why the other is angry. Then, he asks himself consciously whether this situation is a threat to his survival or not. He starts thinking about the solution of the problem, instead of blaming himself or the other. Most often than not, he doesn't even become angry in the first place. If you find yourself in a similar situation next time, you can try a simple trick. If you are angry at someone, think about the fact that he or she will die someday. Love will take the place of your anger instantly, and you can start to work on the solution from a compassionate viewpoint. This shouldn't be confused with wishing death to your enemies. It is just remembering a simple fact of life compassionately. Furthermore, when you are angry at somebody, this always means that you think that he is hindering your survival in one way or another. You need to remind yourself that not only he, but you will die too. Your anger won't make you immortal. Your survival is meaningless because your life will end anyway. You are feeling bad for something in the present that is impossible in the future. Don't poison your precious moments with anger and cause suffering for others for your own selfish and meaningless reasons. However, learning to control emotions is not easy because you were controlled by them your whole life. If you have any kind of emotion you want to get rid of, here is another short and easy exercise you can try. Go back to the source of the emotion until you reach the question of survival. First of all, ask yourself the following question: why do I feel this way? Your emotion always has a cause, but this often stays unconscious. You never just have a bad mood. If you feel bad, it means something happened that makes you feel bad. This time, you have to find the triggering cause of the emotion consciously. Try to remember the moment when you started to feel this particular emotion and remind yourself of what happened then. Let's suppose you found the cause. Now ask yourself this simple question. So? Think consciously, reasonably, and logically about what the cause will really cause. Don't you just overreact the situation? So what if you are late for work? So what if you had an accident? So what if your parents didn't love you? Will feeling bad about it make anything better? Think through the situation with pure logic for once. Something happened in the past which hinders your survival in some way, and your natural reaction is to develop negative emotions about it. This is natural, but feeling bad doesn't actually serve you, not even your survival. Most of the time you emotionally overreact certain situations because you don't think through them logically. Now, pick your number one doubt, or fear, or worry, or concern that bothers you the most, and we will try to eliminate it in under 5 minutes. Do you have it? What I would like you to do now is to think about the worst thing that can happen around that. Whatever the worst case scenario is, just think about that and then notice how it would feel if that were to happen. We want to get to the biggest fear, worry, or concern that you have, and I want you to actually get in touch with the feeling. I want you to notice where in your body the feeling is. Wherever it is, I want you to be with the feeling without trying to make it go away, without trying to analyze it, without judging it. I want you to just be present to it. Be really unconditionally accepting of this feeling, even though there might be a part of you that wants it to go away. I want you to just invite it to just live and breathe and grow in that space. I want you to put your attention on the spot that is the most intense. In that area, you may notice the energy shifting a little bit. It might be getting more tense and tighter, in which case, again, just be really gentle with the feeling and put your attention in that most intense area. Just give love and patience to it. Or you might notice that your mind is kind of wandering, racing around trying to solve problems and thinking things through. If you notice your mind getting really activated, then do your best to let go of the thoughts and stay out of the mind and stay in the body. Thank the mind for trying to help your survival, but just let your thoughts go. The mind can't solve these problems. Stay present, stay in the body, stay out of the mind. All right. You may notice that the feeling has sort of dissipated completely, and you're left with a sense of peace and calm. Just be with this for one more moment. If you have something else on your list, you can go to the next one, and you can repeat the process. The most important thing to understand is that you are not your emotions. The body doesn't belong to you, the energy doesn't belong to you, and the emotions also don't belong to you. You are simply aware of them. They are the contents of your consciousness. The problem is that you identify yourself with your emotions, and you forget about yourself. The emotions are not really yours. They simply appear and disappear in your mind. The real problem is not the existence of the emotions. The real problem is resistance. Your mind judges the emotions as good or bad, and you think that the bad emotions shouldn't be there. Your misery simply comes from not accepting these emotions, trying to fight against them and control them. If you truly understand that the emotions are not yours, you can simply watch them without any judgments. Feeling emotions is just like breathing. The air flows in and out of you, but it does not belong to you, and you are certainly not the air. You are not your emotions either, and they do not even belong to you. They are not your emotions, so stop identifying yourself with them. In everyday life, when you are not aware of yourself, an emotion grabs you. You become one with it, and it swipes you off your feet. But when you remember yourself, you can simply watch the emotion appear and disappear, and nothing will happen to you. Because now you know that the emotion is there, but you are here. The attention that you put on the emotion makes you aware of it and of yourself too. Consciousness separates you from the emotion. The difference is very subtle but important. Before, you were just feeling the feeling. Now, you know that you are feeling the feeling. And you also know that you exist. You can glimpse yourself in the light of consciousness. Observe your emotions, but at the same time, observe the observer too. Who is the one observing the emotions? Don't say things like this, "I am sad." But also, don't deny that sadness is there. Recognize its existence. Say something like this, "Sadness is there. I feel sadness." Try to define the feeling, feel its qualities, feel its nature. Define its energy pattern. Notice what changes it causes in your body. Don't judge it, just be aware of it. You are feeling your feelings, so you cannot be your feelings. There needs to be someone else there who is aware of the emotions. Do you feel the gap between you and your emotions? With the help of this simple exercise, you can become their master. You can simply watch them come and go, just like air flows in and out effortlessly by itself. Here is yet another exercise you should try this week. It will make you realize that in fact, you control your emotions, you make yourself sad, and you have the capability to make yourself happy as well. Initially, it may be hard to believe that this is indeed so, but after this experiment, you will have no doubts. In fact, you shouldn't believe anything in this course. You must see it with your own eyes. Your body-mind is the alchemy lab, where you experiment on yourself. For the next 3 days, do everything to make yourself sad and depressed. Attune yourself to negative frequencies and start noticing everything that is bad in your life. Not only in your life, but in others' life as well. Notice the suffering in the world. Watch the news every night full of catastrophes and accidents. Fill your world with dark clouds. Feel your body surrounded by death. Imagine death crawling under your skin, going deep into your bones. Remember all the instances in the past when you were hurt, and start worrying about every little thing in the future. It won't be too hard because you are probably already doing it. Happiness is quite superficial, but sadness has a certain depth to it. When you feel gloomy, don't try to escape from it. Feel its depth, experience its qualities, and when you accept it totally, you can even start to enjoy it. Don't attach any thought to the emotion. Just sense it in its purity. Feel total sadness. Normally, you don't let yourself feel negative emotions, and this is exactly why they keep coming back. The truth is that you cannot get rid of an emotion until you don't feel it totally. No matter how painful it is, it will eventually pass once you let it go. The problem is not the negative emotion itself. The problem is that you think you shouldn't feel it. With this, you create 2 times more pain for yourself. You feel bad about feeling bad. Why do I tell you to imagine negative things when everybody else is teaching positive thinking? Well, with positive thoughts, you are only suppressing the negatives. It is very superficial and requires great effort on your part. When you get tired trying to think positively, the negative thoughts resurface instantly. What we are trying to do here is not suppressing, but understanding and thereby dissolving negative thoughts and emotions. Through this experiment, you will realize that you can indeed make yourself sad. In fact, only you can make yourself sad. The whole responsibility lies on you. It is not your spouse, your situation, the society, fate, or God. You are responsible for your own emotions, and nobody else. If you are creating sadness, then it is also only you who can stop it. You have been creating it unconsciously so far, but in this experiment, you do it consciously. Now you can realize what you have been doing to yourself and change it. Now, it is easier to believe that you can create happiness at will. In the remaining 4 days, it is really time to think positively. Before, it would have been shallow, but now the contrast is much bigger. Do the exact opposite as in the first 3 days. Notice every positive aspect in your life and in the world. Feel gratitude for every little thing and everyone you meet. Feel life throbbing in your body. Imagine it flowing around in your blood, supporting and nourishing you. Visualize your heart pulsing with love, overflowing with love, and spreading it all over everybody, starting with you. Become receptive to the pleasures and wonders of the world, and attune yourself to higher positive frequencies. Even if you just imagine first, it is fine. Soon, you will forget that you are doing it, and it will start happening on its own accord. Then you will realize that indeed you make yourself happy, and the same way you make yourself sad. You are doing the same thing unconsciously all the time. The next time you become sad, you will become conscious that you are doing it to yourself. The process cannot remain unconscious anymore. Then you can ask yourself what thought process and belief made you feel this way, and you can question it and change it. You were a puppet to your emotions, but now you can become the master. As I mentioned before, every emotion has a mental trigger, and certain thoughts trigger certain feelings. These triggers are unique for each person, based on how he reacted in the past. For example, when you become frustrated, you can react basically 2 ways, by anger or depression. Anger makes you do something to overcome the object of your frustration, while depression makes you immobilized. Once you reacted one way, you tend to react the same way every other time. Your reaction is unconscious and doesn't involve thinking because you are reacting with the subconscious part of the mind. The subconscious is not capable of critical thinking. It can only react to situations and create patterns of reactions over time. When a certain trigger appears in your life, be it a situation or a person, a predefined thinking pattern gets activated and you react with a certain emotion almost immediately. These patterns get reinforced over time. They become automatic, and you turn into an emotional robot. Whenever a trigger appears, you always react the same way in a completely predictable manner, even if you don't want to, even if you hurt others or yourself, even if you regret it afterwards. You say that you cannot do anything against it, at least you think so. You are controlled by these automatic patterns, just like a robot is controlled by its programs. What is even worse, most of the time, you are not even aware of them. You make them part of your personality. You think that your programs make you who you are. But this is just a rationalization that prohibits you from changing them. Others can see your patterns often clearer than you do. If you saw your own pattern once, you will be able to notice them in everybody else almost instantly. However, recognizing your own program is the hardest because it is too obvious. Just like a fish doesn't see the water it is swimming in, you are also blind to the main pattern that defines your thinking. This is why certain situations, emotions, and thoughts keep repeating themselves in your life. There is a certain kind of emotional pattern that is unique for everybody. This pattern doesn't only define your emotions, but most of your thoughts, actions, and your circumstances as well. Just think about it. One small pattern of thought that defines your whole life, and you don't even know about it. It has become unconscious because you got so used to it that you don't even notice it anymore. Until you keep yourself under its spell, this pattern will repeat itself in more and more severe forms. Existence would like you to notice this pattern and learn from it. If you don't learn from the small lessons, it will show you bigger and bigger ones, where you will suffer more and more. But you can end your own suffering simply by recognizing your pattern and stop repeating it. If you unconsciously keep repeating a negative pattern of thought, it will soon affect your emotions, which will affect your energy level, and this will cause negative changes in your physical body. This is how psychosomatic diseases, 80% of all diseases, are formed. Besides, this pattern is also the biggest obstacle on the path of self-realization, because it is responsible for most of the thoughts that appear in the mind. The truth is, you not only inherited the genes of your parents, but their limiting beliefs and their emotional patterns as well. And just like you combined their genes and grew a unique body, in the same way, you combined their emotional patterns in a unique way. Your parents inherited these emotional patterns from their own parents the same way. The line of inheritance goes back to infinity, so it is no use trying to find the reasons. This emotional pattern is defining you in every minute of your life strongly and unconsciously. You are so used to it that it is very difficult to recognize it for yourself. This is the one emotional pattern that you never liked in your parents and which you always tried to avoid. But while you were trying to avoid it, you put your attention on it. And this way, you gave it more and more energy until you manifested it in your own life. And this vicious circle is still going on in this present moment. In the parental pattern meditation, you will be able to identify your own pattern and escape from its spell. When this happens, your whole life will suddenly make sense in one moment, and you will realize how you have been causing your own suffering until now. You will be able to easily notice and stop the pattern in your everyday life and shift your attention to the present moment. You have to thank your parents for supporting you all of your life, feeding you, encouraging you, caring for you. They did an incredible job. Without them, you wouldn't be where you are, and you wouldn't be who you are now. However, you have to understand that it is not easy being a parent. They must have made many mistakes along the way. But you also have to know that each time they only wanted the best for you. All of their mistakes have come from ignorance and not from bad intentions. Let go of all the built-up negative emotions of the past regarding your parents. Even if they did something bad to you, it is you who is keeping the negative emotions. It is you who is poisoned by anger and sadness. And it is only you who can let go of these emotions. Only you can free yourself. This is your choice. You feel these feelings because you want to feel them. But when you understand that you are doing bad to yourself, it is easy to let go of the past. So, forgive your parents for their mistakes and thank them for everything. Now, remember the main emotional patterns and limiting beliefs of your parents, that of your father and that of your mother. Which feelings did you suppress most in your life? What did you avoid saying or doing because you were afraid your parents would disapprove? What needs did you have that were never quite met? What was the one emotion that you always tried to avoid? Identify your emotional pattern. Name the feeling, name the thought.